that you would stay. I followed to the city thinking you would change your way. Well, you might be the first time I love.
Chapter 2. Superficially, I can hit it off with anyone. Small talk is fine. I'll tell you that I'm a writer, tell you what I'm listening to, tell you what movie I just saw, hands moving, voice steadily pitching upwards. Then there is silence. In my mind, I search in vain for something to talk about, something funny to say. God forbid that I disagree with someone or they are ignorant about something that I hold dear. You should know that if you can't talk cosmic conflict movies, Skyrat comics, or Meat and Curtain albums, I won't talk to you. I can't. Jasmine sat with me on the couch playing Tales of the Skyrat, the two of us trading the controller back and forth, taking turns racing the titular character across Green City, from giant green bubble to giant green bubble, the checkpoints in the game's time trials. My thumbs were sore. Our bellies were full of Jasmine's vodka. Our knees were touching. Jasmine made an effort to engage conversation, telling me something about her roommates, the legendary Mary Catherine, the Hive. Upon wrong turns, I shouted obscenities. There was a time trial giving me shit. From the top of a building, the goal was to simply move in a long, straight line across Green City to the final destination bubble atop a small water tower near the 5 Points Bridge. I could zip from rooftop to rooftop with relative ease and finesse, hitting the bubbles along the way, but at the water tower, I would overjump or underjump at the bubble, this glowing red orb, and end up at the feet of the tower, scrambling to get back on top, and then run out of time. Fuck, I said, accidentally swinging under the bridge. My right and left hand operated the controller, oblivious of each other. Motherfucker, I said, Skyrat leaping just high and left of his target. Jasmine said, Jesus, Wayne, learn from your mistakes. You keep doing the same things over and over again. I dropped the controller on the floor in front of me. You want to try a combat tour? Fighting the gangs in the combat tours was my other favorite option in the game, in lieu of chasing Berserker and advancing the story. Jasmine answered, Not really. It's kind of late, and I'm drunk. I'm going downstairs. I said, Okay, and walked her to the door. She swayed a little. I asked, Can I kiss you? She was expressionless, tired-eyed. She said, I'm not quite feeling that right now. Said, Good night, Larissa Lynn, and stumbled away to what I hoped was a coffin downstairs. I watched, yellow over blue, thick black hair to where her neck ends, drunken swagger like a penguin. I wanted to masturbate. On Dorothy's bed, I fantasized about Jasmine, but my mind wandered to the goddess portrait in the bathroom, Dorothy with her belly button pierced, her pubic hair trimmed. I pulled the covers aside and crossed the hall. I left the door open and sat on the floor, on the rug, door ajar, a dim yellow light casting itself from outside, just enough. You should know I was coming when the bathroom faucet came on. Back in Dorothy's bed, I fell asleep to the thought of impregnating time-space, then dreamt I was in the Formidable Friends, superb comics kids cartoon supergroup that I watched after school every day when I was 5. My dream pitted Strongman, Dark Spectre, Queen Concord, and Oceanian against a never-ending barrage of monsters in what appeared to be a warehouse. We were losing. Their costumes were torn and dirty, but brightly colored despite the darkness, which casted no shadows on any of them. I did not have the ability to alter probabilities. Somewhere, a strongman was being pummeled. I think Dark Spectre was dead. Oceanian and Queen Concord were certainly dead. A monster was behind me and hell-bent, but I don't think I ever saw him. I ran up stairs of ancient, crumbling stone, wrapping up a never-ending brick tunnel. My father ran with me, calling me useless, telling me to visit my sick grandmother, encouraging me to go back to school. He yelled at me and said things I remember. The monster closed in on us. I shot awake, sweating. I could see the soft yellow light from outside across the polished wood of the hall. I was alone, but not alone, feeling the dread of the stairs. I turned on all the lights in the house before trying to sleep again. I could hear the faucet, but I could not move. I could feel the sweat, but I could not pull the blankets. Scream, my brain said, but my lips were still. I was not alone in the room. Fucking scream, my brain said, screaming. Twitch your fingers, you useless piece of shit. Scream. Don't panic. Twitch your fingers, you worthless. What if I stopped breathing? I could hear the faucet. I was not alone. What if it was the hag? Scream! Fucking move! I did not move. Eventually, I must have relented because blissfully ignorant sleep pulled me back under. There were 2 weeks left before Dorothy returned. I had barely left the couch in days, the front rooms of the house the only ones I trusted. The cat was afraid of the guest room. I was afraid of Dorothy's room. I had read that other people suffering from sleep paralysis will sometimes claim that there is a hag that sits on their chest, suffocating them when they wake in their minds and find themselves immobile. I had never experienced this and decided it would be best if I never did. Someone had been in Dorothy's room last night. Maybe it was Sally. Maybe it was a hag. Maybe it was the ghost of a former tenant. Downstairs on the first floor was a hive of vampires. The last time Jasmine visited, she brought a bottle of tequila and some hamburger casserole. On the couch in front of my 8th viewing of Undead Texas, she said, I met a real vampire once. I was 13 and staying the night with my aunt, sleeping on the couch, and the next thing I know, I'm standing in the front doorway with the door open, about to unlatch the screen door and let this man in. Was he wearing a black cape? I asked, disbelieving. No, I couldn't see him. He was like a silhouette. But don't you understand the significance here? He could have broken in, just pulled that screen door and ripped the hook out. But he didn't. He was waiting to be invited in, you see? It's just like Dracula, lulling Lucy out of bed to let him in. She was impressed. Exactly! Only I woke up and saw him and slammed the door in his face. I was so shaken by it that I couldn't even talk to my aunt about it for a day. I slept with her whenever I visited again. Do you really believe in vampires, Jasmine? Of course, she said. There have been vampire legends in every culture since the dawn of time. The Egyptians had them. In some places in Europe, they would exhume the bodies of alcoholics so that they could put a stake through their heart, considering the likes of them to be obvious candidates for vampiric activity. She poured us another drink. Don't even get me started on the Romanians. Those were some crazy, superstitious fuckers. She took a sip, then asked, What do you believe in? Do you believe in God, Wayne? I was a Sunday school teacher when I was in high school, I admitted. One day, I'm riding home with my preacher and his wife from this swanky restaurant. They had taken me out for this amazing, expensive lunch buffet, right? Dude kept asking the waiter for very specifically, for fresh squeezed orange juice and refused orange juice when the fresh squeezed ran dry. They knew each other. Anyway, so we leave the restaurant and he and his wife were driving me home, and he tells me that he knows our waiter was gay and that I should know that he was going to hell because of it. And then he told me my gay aunt would go to hell and so would my gay uncle. Jasmine asked, Are you kidding me? No way. And these were people I loved and respected, so I couldn't believe that God would be so contemptible of his own creation. Right. About the time the preacher's wife broke down in tears in front of the church, thick streams of mascara flooding onto the lace at her neck. She told the congregation about angels lifting the roof off the church and showing her God's light. Her husband wrapped his arms around her to offer comfort, knocking her big blue hat onto the floor. He gave her a tissue. She blew her nose and told us that God had spoken to her. He told her, Pass the collection plate, honey, laughed Jasmine in her best deep southern accent. I hate those people. Still, I believe in a mother goddess. Earth is so finely tuned for us. How else can you explain it? It's all an accident. A miracle. Fuck that. We're here because Earth is finally tuned, not the other way around. We're a cosmic fluke. Probably not the only one, but still an anomaly. You believe your dead girlfriend may be haunting you. You believe in something. I believe in the power of the human mind. It's corny, but I do. It's a powerful thing. I believe that it can persist after death. I don't know. Create our own heaven or hell. Or we all probably just hang out on Earth or whatever when we're dead. At least until the sun starts to die or a meteor takes it all away from us. Takes it in one continuum, not all of them. Maybe the human mind can transcend those kinds of barriers, and when we die, we can all go someplace else, in some other time or place, not necessarily heaven or hell. You sound like Bruce, I said. I told her about my sleep problems and the hag. I told her that I had had the thought, when I felt the presence of the old hag, that it could be vampiric. See, it's true. Vampires are real, Wayne. I've seen one. He'd lull me from my sleep so I would invite him in and offer him my neck, but my will was too strong. Was there a dice roll involved in determining your willpower? She laughed at me, and I wormed all over. My hand went to her knee, and I felt hers. Our lips came together, but she didn't accept my tongue. My mouth moved over the tattoo on her neck. The entire world was fuzzy. She moaned a little. I said, "Take me downstairs with you." She smiled, amused. "I can't sleep. I can't just have sex with me?" Right. Things are fuzzier after that. Memories are like the dull yellow light on the painting in the bathroom at night. I have a vague recollection of touring Bruce's art with her, stumbling, another attempt at her in the hall. And then I am awake, and it's afternoon. I was on the bathroom floor. I had wet myself. The toilet was full and my stomach was empty. The tequila bottle appeared to have died in the sink. The faucet was running. That was the day that Terry came back. He had taken a bus and said, "I can stay with you until Dorothy gets back, and then we can get an apartment." I did not want to live with him, but he had some money in pot. I said, "Sounds good, man." He told me to check Dorothy's answering machine. He told me to call my mom right away. Into the phone, my mom said, "Why won't you talk to anyone? Dorothy has been calling every day. Bruce has called too. Wayne, I'm really worried about you being all alone in that house. You should come home." I said, "I'm not coming home, Mom. I don't want to talk to anyone." And added, "But I'm okay. Terry is here." "He's with you? Why is that so surprising?" "Did Terry tell you why he came back? Did he tell you why he didn't go back to work?" Terry was a roofer. Sometimes. "No, I didn't ask. He said he was thinking of moving here." He was on the couch, shirtless, red bandana tied at his forehead. I watched him spit tobacco into the beer can he had carried with him. In the kitchen, I said, "I don't think Terry and I have too much in common anymore, Mom." "You always say that, Wayne, every time you hang out with him." "I have to tell you something. Hold on. Dad wants you." I heard their voices and the phone trading hands. Dad said, "Hey, buddy, you doing all right?" "I'm fine, Dad." "How's Dorothy's apartment?" In between the refrigerator and the cabinet was an ink drawing of Dorothy and Bruce having a meal at a table under an umbrella. The sun cast deep black shadows on the left side of everything. "It's a nice place," I said. "Sucks that Bruce can't visit you. I talked to him on the phone the other day. I can't believe that crazy fucker got Alexis." "Alexis? You haven't talked to him at all? He's made a shitload of money with Dorothy selling his paintings." "That's awesome." In the living room, the theme from Tales of the Skyrat came on. I said, "Dad, I have to go." "I love you, Wayne," he said. "Come home if you need to." "I love you too. I'm fine here, though. I'll talk to you later." With that, it was off to marijuana and Skyrat. I could hear a woman calling, "What's your major?" Another says, "My portfolio is smelly." There is bass guitar and the mashing of buttons. I try to speak but can't. Terry spits. The flaming fellow challenges Skyrat to a race, a rematch. My fingers and toes don't belong to me. My tongue is lame. If I could talk, I would scream. If I could scream, my throat would bleed. I felt a hand on my arm and came awake instantly. Terry said, "You always did sleep funny. You still have to change your sheets every morning?" "Only when I've been drinking." I rolled over and went back to sleep. I awoke in the wee hours of the morning. My head hurt. There was confusion. I was not alone. A voice said, "Dude, wake up," and I realized Terry was in the living room with me. What's going on?" I asked. "Wake up, man. It's fucking haunted. There's someone in Dorothy's room." "Did you see her?" I asked, sitting up. "No, man, but the paintings are moved around, and I could hear it. It fucking woke me up." I turned the lights on. In place of the 4-foot by 4-foot self-portrait over the couch, there was the watercolor of the zombies from the guest room. One of the abstracts from the hall replaced the hippie that was on the wall to the left of the TV. Terry said, "I ain't going back in that room." I got up and looked around. Every painting in the apartment had been moved to another room and replaced. In Dorothy's room were the portraits, the ones from the bathroom, the ink drawing of her and Bruce eating together. Bruce's masterpiece hung over the bed. I said, "Let's get the Ouija board." Terry was not into that idea. He sat in the easy chair, clutching the Bible, praying, eyes closed, pleading, "Lord, please protect us from the evil spirits in this house. Help them to find peace so that we can sleep," I finished for him. "Amen. Let's get the Ouija board. We'll ask if we're in any danger. Here, wait." From the kitchen, I grabbed Terry's half-empty bottle of bourbon. I poured 2 shots and brought them back into the living room. I said, "Courage," and we drank together. I poured again and assured him, "Dorothy has lived here for a while, man. She doesn't seem scared at all." And we sat with the Ouija board on the guest room floor. On the walls, in place of the animals, were landscapes and flowers. Terry's right hand quivered on the cursor. His left, a death grip on salvation. My palms were moist. I asked the air, "Sally?" The Ouija board said, "Yes." Terry said, "No fucking way." I asked, "Why did you move the paintings?" The cursor slowly glided from letter to letter, spelling Terry. "What about me?" The whiskey was working. The cursor spelled "get out." Terry became hysterical. He jumped up from our spot on the floor at the foot of the bed, tripping on the carpet and falling backwards, knocking a lamp into the window. A large chunk of fractured glass hit the floor and exploded, spreading shards under the bed, across the Persian rug we had been sitting cross-legged on. He ignored the mess and bolted for the living room, his shoes. "It's 4 a.m, Terry. Where are you going?" I asked him. "It said get out, so I'm getting out. Fucking come with me, Wayne. Dorothy won't mind. She'll understand." He stood at the door, Tar Heels jacket in hand. My first thought was to do it, to leave with Terry and go back to Indiana, maybe my parents' house. "I can't do it, Terry. I promised her I'd stay. Besides, I'm more afraid of the vampires downstairs than I am of Sally's ghost." The words dropped my heart into my stomach like the glass, spreading electric tingles like shards. Sally's ghost. "I don't care, man. I'm leaving." He sat on the couch next to me. His eyes were wet. "Please come with me." "I can't, man. I have to talk to her." "You don't know that it's Sally. It's probably lying. It's probably evil." I could hear the bathroom faucet. I said, "It's not evil, Terry." "You're such a pussy. Where are you going to go?" Now the tears were coming. He buried his face in his hands and cried. "I don't know." He looked at me and said, "I'm in trouble." He told me that the police were after him. He told me that he was a suspect in an armed robbery. "Did you fucking rob someone, Terry?" His sobs made most of his answer unintelligible, but it was clear that he was denying guilt and was terrified of going back to prison. He wiped his eyes, regained his composure. He went to the door and said, "Just come with me. We'll take a bus to California and get jobs. I have a couple $100. I asked him, "Terry, are you more afraid of this apartment or jail?" "Come with me," he pleaded. "I'm not coming with you." Without his backpack, a goodbye, or an offer to clean up the glass, he left. and I was alone again.
Get them, you see.
You should know that I was not alone in Dorothy's apartment.
I'm not sure that I do. It's so hard, 'cause the city turns its back on